What's up? I'm Sorik. This is Sorik Kazemi, and today I am going to do a tarot reading. It's going to be a single message, no picking groups, and I thought that I would film under my backyard's pomegranate tree because it looks really pretty right now, and I wanted to because I really love pomegranates. And I was wondering, what am I gonna make the theme of this reading? And then I was like, let me ask the pomegranate tree. I was like, pomegranate tree, what do you think? And the pomegranate tree was like, what if you made it messages from the pomegranate tree about what is changing right now in your life? What's transforming? So, yeah, that's gonna be the vibe. I'm gonna do what in your life is transforming slash changing slash mutating slash alchemizing right now. We'll see how I title it. But I'm gonna be using the Headless Tarot by Violet Magician, and I also have the Wild Unknown Oracle deck with me, or I should say, sorry, the Archetype deck, and also the Alchemy deck. So I think we'll do tarot messages first and then pull like an oracle card from each deck to top it off with advice, you know? All right, let's go. Did you know that there's a certain number of times that you should riffle shuffle a deck in order to properly randomize it? I think the number is like 7 for a standard deck of 52 playing cards. And so I think for a tarot deck, because it is like 78 cards, I did the calculation for this one time. I think it's something like about 11 shuffles is how many you need in order to get it like really like properly randomized. And so I did a couple before filming this, and I am also doing a couple now just to really make sure we get randomized messages in there. Shuffling is so interesting. Stats terrifying. Anyway, let's get to the message. Okay, well, not let's get to the message, let's get to actually pulling your cards. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. So, I pulled 4 cards. You have the Hermit, Death, the 4 of Wands, and Temperance. So, let me just kind of hold these up so you can see them. And then let me sit with this for a moment and think about what is coming through. Okay, so immediately I'm drawn to the fact that there are 3 major arcana cards here: the Hermit, Death, and Temperance. So there are big changes afoot for you. Not surprising, that kind of seems to be the vibe with everyone else that I'm talking to right now. Everyone's like, things are wild right now. And as you've probably seen, things are wild in the world right now. Not in a good way. But, hey, people are fighting. Some people are fighting for good causes. But, so, honestly, let's start with the Death card. Why not? Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's start with the Death card. You are experiencing a time of great endings. This might be It feels like you're losing something, feels like something is transforming. It feels like there's something that has been revealed to you and you can't close your eyes to it anymore, you know? That's the thing with death, right? Is that death is a permanent transformation. It's not that you don't have the capacity to regrow, rebuild, or to take what happens after a death and create something new from it. But the thing is, you gotta die first. You gotta let something die first. Maybe you are in the process of letting something die, or of having lost something, or maybe you are grieving something, you know? Some sort of deep ending is at foot. Death is the Scorpio card. The Hermit is Virgo. Temperance is Sagittarius. And the Four of Wands is, hold on a sec, the third decan of Aries. So from the last 10 degrees of Aries, 20 to 30 degrees of Aries. So we got Virgo, Scorpio, Aries 3, and Sagittarius. And the order they came out in is like earth sign, water sign, fire sign, fire sign. So it feels like you are coming out of a period of stillness right now, you know? The Hermit card is like, maybe you've been in a phase in your life where you were retreating inward in some way. Maybe you were socializing less than usual. Maybe like the usual things that you enjoyed doing with your time were just kind of like not giving you the same satisfaction or joy that they normally would. And so you've been taking time to go inward, to look towards yourself instead of facing out towards the world. And these internal analyses and experiences have probably been like what contributed to this death, to this loss, to this ending. This could even be like an internal thing. Like maybe it is an identity that you have been holding on to, a story that you've been telling about your own life that is now being rewritten. Maybe there were things that you thought you wanted for a really, really long time, but maybe you got them. Maybe you got what you wanted and you still weren't satisfied. And maybe that's a kind of death, you know, is getting everything you wanted and realizing that you still aren't content inside. That's tough. That's a tough realization to have. And so Hermit and Death are cards number 9 and 13. And so, but the card after 13 is 14, Temperance. So, we have Temperance and the Four of Wands. So the reason I said the thing about you getting everything you wanted and still not being satisfied is because the future, I'm taking kind of like, the way I'm kind of doing it in my head is like, these two are kind of giving past and these two are kind of giving future energy to me. So if these are like the past energies that you're coming from, your future energies feel much more like you're reconsidering your idea of what happiness is. The Four of Wands is a card about the structuring of your vision, I would say. Because fours are very like a structure kind of oriented thing, you know, like it's like a square, like that's a stable shape. And Wands is all about like fire, it's the fire suit of the tarot. So it's like insight, images, imagination, visualization, having an idea that you pull out of the ether and then hopefully figure out a way to ground it into reality. And the Four of Wands is, I think, a card that is very conducive to that sort of grounding in reality of a dream or a vision that you have. Like, because like I feel like the Three of Wands that comes before it is kind of like you're looking out into the distance and gazing at like the thing that you want to get. And then the Four is like you are making a sort of like structure in your mind for the thing that you want. And then the Five of Wands, you got to fight for it. But you're not at the fighting for it stage yet. No, no. What this death is giving you is a vision and a structure for what it is that you want. And realizing, and not just what you want, but the Four of Wands is a card about like, it's like home and community and joy and celebration, you know? It's about having this vision and also sharing this vision with other people in your life. But I'm getting the vibe that because like the card that came right before this is death, I am getting the vibe that in order for you to get to this vision of whatever happiness is to you, you have to let something go about who you think you are. Maybe you had a really like particular idea of what kind of life you want to live for a while and like the kind of person that you want to be and what opportunities that makes available to you. But death and the Four of Wands is indicating to me that in order for you to create a new vision for like home and joy and community for yourself, you gotta let go of something that you've been clinging to. You gotta let go of something that's already dying, actually, in fact, because these are kind of like in the more past positions. So, like, this thing, there's something that's already on its way out. And I think the best thing you can do right now is to not cling to it, because on the other side of letting this thing go is you actually getting the opportunity to taste satisfaction for once in your life. Not just working hard, not just schlepping, making all of this labor and all of this effort only to be left unsatisfied in the end. No, no, no. This is deep satisfaction I'm feeling. Especially with like the fourth card being temperance. Because temperance is I literally said that this was about like what's changing, transforming, alchemizing in your life. And temperance is about alchemy, honestly. Like the in the Smith Rider-Waite tarot, you'll see that it's an angel, I think often labeled to be the angel Gabriel, who has two cups in their hand, and they are pouring from one cup into the other. In other places, I have seen this vibe kind of described as like the reconciling of opposites, because that's what you have to do in order to do alchemy, you know? You have to take two things that are kind of seemingly opposite and find a way to reconcile them and therefore create something new in the process. And that's how I think of the temperance card. It's like trying to take a cup of fire and a cup of water and pour them into each other to make, I don't know, plasma? something else. That I do always associate plasma with Sagittarius because it's like the most like weird and gaseous form of fire. And temperance is Sagittarius. So yeah, maybe that's a good analogy. How do you combine fire and water to make plasma? Or maybe fire and air would be a better metaphor. Anyway, whatever. Don't get too caught up on that. Temperance says that the answer to your dissatisfaction with your life is in reconciling the parts of yourself that you feel are most incompatible. This might be about doing a little shadow work, you know, digging a little bit into the parts of yourself that are repressed. And I don't get this like idea that shadow work is about like confronting like bad or dark parts of yourself. Shadow work is like going into your basement and decluttering. You know, like the basement is like the place where we're like, this thing is like, it needs to be dealt with, but I don't want to deal with it right now. Or this, I don't need this right now, but I might need it later. And so we put it in the basement and it stays there in the dark, waiting to be brought back up again. And that's what shadow work should really be about. It is about taking the stuff that is in the basement, that is hidden, that has been put away, that has been maybe even repressed. If you put it in the basement and then tried to forget about it, maybe you're in a period of time where you are doing some shadow work. You might be having some 12th house or 4th house transits if you know your birth chart. Because the 4th house is very much like the basement of the chart, because it's like the very lowest point of the chart, because it's the part of the chart that is like all the way under the earth at the time when you were born. That's that part of the sky is the 4th house, aka the IC. And so you might be having a significant transit in that 4th house, probably if you have like, or you could be having a significant 12th house transit, because the 12th house is like, it's a little bit different because it's the house that's like right above the horizon. That's like where the sun goes like after it starts to rise. And so it's a little bit more like things that are not visible to us because it's hard to look at them. They're kind of behind our awareness, and it's kind of easy to forget about them in a way that can be detrimental to us if we just ignore them for too long. That's the vibes of the 12th house. So you might be having stuff going on in your 4th or 12th house transits, especially if like you have Aries, Gemini, or Aquarius in your 4th or 12th house. Then you would be having one of these big, slow-moving planets in that part of your chart. And the big outer planet slow-moving transits tend to be ones that kind of excavate a lot of stuff that's been hidden for a long time, and then force you to make big life changes. Like, and you can kind of either just go along with them and play with the ride and surf the wave of chaos, or you can try really hard to cling to the past and hold on to what you've built so far, even if it's not giving you satisfaction. They're not going to let you stay. Things are going to change one way or another. Like, big transits, like, they will take place. It's just kind of up to you of like, do you want to accept them or not? Do you want to play ball and co-create with the universe? Big thing with Scorpio. There's an astrologer I like called Panda Hershey, who one of her keywords for Scorpio is co-creating trust. And I feel like the process of alchemy is co-creating trust with the universe, because you have to be able to see yourself as someone with agency and the ability to change things in the world around you. And 2, you have to be able to see the universe as not some still, static, external thing, but as something that you can interact with and something that will interact back with you. So, in this way, if you are able to reconcile these opposites inside yourself, If you're able to take the fire and the water and mix them and make plasma or whatever, then maybe that plasma will be the key to creating some external change that changes things in your life that you aren't satisfied with in a way that gives you a deeper, longer lasting sense of joy and satisfaction. And I know that can be kind of a tough thing to think about with, all of the wartime everything and climate everything and virus everything's happening in the world. But your life is still your life, no matter if the rest of the world is collapsing. And in fact, the more of us are living at our peak capacity, the more we will have the capacity to create change, the more we have the agency and the power and the sovereignty to change the things that are happening in the world. If you try to change your own life and find that you can successfully do it, it's a very short step to believing that you can change the rest of the world too. That's why self-actualization is so important. If you can love yourself enough to give yourself spiritual growth, as I've been rereading the book All About Love by Bell Hooks, bless, and in it, she uses psychologist M. Scott Peck's definition of love to be, it's something like the willingness to extend yourself for the spiritual growth of yourself or another person. If you are willing to come out of this comfort zone, out of what's comfortable, out of what's familiar, out of what's old, out of what's already built, out of what already exists, if you're willing to take a chance to move into trying to create something that you haven't tried before, if you're willing to take a risk, if you're willing to be brave and take a risk and extend yourself for your own spiritual growth, if you can show yourself love in that way, then you can also show love to the world by dedicating yourself to change. And if you're someone who is already extending yourself for the world's spiritual growth, if you're already a person who is putting in the effort to care about other people, if you're already someone who is fighting against all of the terrible things happening in the world right now, if you're someone who is already trying to co-create a better cosmos for us, then are you also doing that for yourself? Or are you ignoring yourself because you think that self-abnegation is more noble? Are you prioritizing the happiness of your community over your own self-actualization? Because that's not a healthy way to be either. We need you at full capacity too, so that everyone else can be radiated upon by the energy that you shine when you are in your full essence, in your full power, in your full sovereignty, in your full satisfaction. Okay, I think now I'm gonna pull an oracle card from each of my 2 Wild Unknown decks, and then I will wrap this up by interpreting those for you. Ooh, okay. So first of all, we have Kairos. Love that for you. We love that for you. And then let me get one of the hexagon cards too. Ooh, okay. Okay, so we have Kairos and we have Pluto. So Kairos and Pluto as your advice oracle cards. That's strong energy. Like, we're talking This is, yeah, like it's irreversible transformation. This is it's death and Pluto. Like we've got Scorpio and Pluto here. And so Kairos is all about, how shall we say this? Synchronicity. It is about when timing just lines up. Not like clock time, not like I made an appointment for 1 p.m. and when I go to the appointment at 1 p.m., I am there and the appointment happens at 1 p.m. That's mundane timing. That's regular timing. That's chronos. That's clock time. That's calendar time. Kairos isn't about any of that. Kairos is the time that exists when we are in alignment with the cosmos. When you are in alignment with the universe, because you are in alignment with yourself, and you are open and willing to receive the omens, the signs, the synchronicities that indicate to you that it's the time for something to change, then we are operating on Kairos time. This is about feeling when the moment is here. I'm remembering the song The Moment by Tame Impala from their 2015 album Currents, so that might be significant to someone, or maybe go check it out and listen to it. Yeah, I think it's called The Moment. I will link it in the description, actually. I forgot I can do that. I'll link it in the description below. Whoop. Pomegranate Tree's tickling inside my ear, so I think that sounds like, yeah, go listen to it. That was funny. Okay, and then we have Pluto. Okay, so in this, I'm actually like now hearing that you might be someone who is having a, what do you call it, a Pluto transit in one of your angular houses. So Pluto could be conjoining your ascendant, midheaven, IC, or descendant. So this is if you are, I'm going to use whole sign. So if you're a Taurus rising, Leo rising, Scorpio rising, or Aquarius rising, then this might be relevant to you. And Pluto, yeah, it's giving me that same, like, reifying the death message of like, it is like you are in a phase of big transformation time. And I think it's strongly encouraging you to let go of what needs to be let go, because whatever you feel in the moment is like yours to change is going to be the thing that leads to a cascade, a domino effect, if you will, of changes. The thing with Pluto is that it can be really like slow, bubbling under the surface, building up like magma, and then suddenly one day the volcano erupts and there's an explosion, and suddenly the entire landscape around you is forever changed. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes the forest is overgrown and it needs a little destruction and devastation so that new growth, healthier growth, can have fertile soil to come back into. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the message I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, I hope this was useful and helpful and maybe even a little inspiring to you. I didn't expect how much energy I would be getting from doing this reading, but yeah, I feel pumped. I also kind of feel like I'm in this sort of like vibe myself. A lot of things in my life are changing, and I'm just kind of, I'm going along with the wave where we're seeing what's happening and we're trying our best. All right, anyway, take care of yourselves and other people around you. Keep fighting. Keep trying to become the most you version of you that you can be, because that's what we need in the world right now. We need everyone to become the brightest, radiant version of themselves so we can radiate our light to other people, and then they can get some of that light, and then they can radiate, and then that's how we change everything. Okay, bye.